Lonewolf! I need a little bit of luck. Just a little bit. Oh, I gotta drop these RPGs, bro. I have to. It's mandatory. I need my shield.
Zephyr, thank you for the follow.
Before we get into the video, we just
This episode of Real Engineering is brought to you by Brilliant.org, a problem-solving website that helps you think like an engineer. There is over 4 billion mobile phone users in the world, a figure that is expected to grow to 5 billion by the end of the decade. We've all become hugely dependent on this amazing tool, and the feeling of it running out of battery is all too familiar. That desperate scramble before it goes gently into the night. These devices last, at best, about one full day on a charge, and then must spend the better part of the evening tethered to a wall. Unless you are constantly carrying your charger with you, it is difficult to keep your phone from dying over the course of a busy day. But what if we could charge our phones conveniently, without having to find a plug and carrying a charger with us at all times? With the proliferation of electric cars, we've all become hugely dependent on this amazing tool, and the feeling of it running out of battery is all too familiar. that desperate scramble before it goes gently into the night. These devices last, at best, about one full day on a charge, and then must spend the better part of the evening tethered to a wall. Unless you are constantly carrying the charger with you, it is difficult to keep your phone from dying over the course of a busy day. But what if we could charge our phones conveniently, without having to find a plug and carrying a charger with us at all times? With the proliferation of electric cars and electronic biomedical devices like pacemakers, one vital piece of technology, first developed about a century ago, is set to significantly improve the way we keep our devices powered. It's called wireless charging, and it's popping up in cafes, fast food restaurants, and IKEA furniture. Although there are competing standards, wireless charging is power delivered from a power source to an electronic device without the need for a tethered wire connection. Inductive charging is the most popular form of wireless charging for mobile devices, and leading the way is the Wireless Power Consortium with their Qi Open Interface standard, using fundamentally the same technology. Other groups are incorporating inductive charging tech for use in electric vehicles. Getting to the bottom of inductive charging, you need to go all the way back to the mid-1800s when Michael Faraday discovered the underlying principles of electromagnetic induction. He discovered that in the presence of an alternating magnetic field, an electromotive force would be produced across an electric conductor. By the late 1800s, Nikola Tesla utilized this idea and demonstrated the phenomenon of resonant inductive coupling by lighting an incandescent lamp wirelessly. By tuning the current to match the resonant frequency of the coils, two coils will couple, providing higher efficiency power transfer. The discoveries that stemmed from Faraday's led to the modern electrical motor and other unmeasurably important inventions. However, for inductive charging, the science proved easier than implementation. For starters, there weren't many electronics that would greatly benefit from such technology in the days of Nikola Tesla, and due to limitations in circuit board design and size constraints, it wasn't until the 1990s that the technology became viable at a consumer electronic level, where we started seeing wireless charging toothbrushes and in 2008, wireless charging mobile phones. An inductive charger consists of only a few parts: AC current from the wall, an oscillator electrical circuit, and the transmission coil. The transmission coil is a tightly wound copper element that, as the alternating current passes through, will produce a magnetic flux. The magnetic flux density is based on things like the number of turns in the wire, the diameter of the transmission coil, the distance from the coil, and other properties such as current. On the receiver's end, the process is basically the same except opposite. In the receiver device, a coil of the same type is embedded into the charging circuit. The alternating magnetic field is picked up by the receiving coil and a current is induced. The AC power is passed through a power rectifier and stabilizer to convert it into DC power the phone can use to charge the battery. Both the transmitter and the receiver have electrical resonant frequencies designed to be the same. For low displacement distances, such as a mobile phone on a charging pad, it is actually less efficient to operate at the circuit resonant frequency due to heat generation. However, for a larger displacement distance, such as a car parked over a charging pad, operating at the resonant frequency causes inductive coupling to counteract some of the displacement-related transmission losses. There are many other factors that affect performance of transmission, and with no standardized design on the phone's end yet, charging pads need ways of detecting the type of device it is charging, have multiple coil arrangements, and control modules to alternate between both. The two big questions with inductive charging are ones we keep coming back to. Do people really care about the technology, and what are the implications of inductive charging becoming popular? Having a fully charged phone wirelessly, but nonetheless stuck to a charging pad is barely a convenience. Teams are working within the Qi wireless standard to create devices such as the Pi charger, which can charge up to 4 devices at a range of up to a third of a meter with a max power output of 10 watts per device. It's completely conceivable that the office furniture of the future will have inductive charging capability built in, followed by most laptops, cell phones, and wireless mice. But consumers need to care about it, and hardware manufacturers need to see the value. There is one industry that inductive charging will make a meaningful impact. It happens to indirectly involve Tesla once again. Going to the petrol station is a legitimate inconvenience, and visiting a Tesla charging station is an even bigger inconvenience. That's why startups and corporations alike are beginning to shift their attention to this lucrative opportunity. Similar to charging a cell phone on a charging pad, a transmitter will be installed in parking spaces and a receiver on the bottom of the car. Imagine your autonomous electric vehicle dropping you off for dinner and seeking out a parking space with inductive charging. No attendant needed, the car simply aligns itself with the transmission pad and the charging process is initiated. If these industries can make this tech convenient, there is a huge chance people will want to use it. But is that a good thing? According to a study in 2015 conducted by the Wireless Consortium, the creators of the Qi standard, they found in real-world conditions the Qi wireless charger had an efficiency of about 59.4%. with their competitor coming in at just 39.6%. With 30 million iPhone X sold in its first quarter, they have an impact of 415 megawatt hours per day if charged fully once per day. With an efficiency of only 60%, that would result in an increase of 278 megawatt hour load on the grid, which is about 25 years worth of power for an average home. This is only accounting for one mobile phone and not accounting for the other 2.5 billion smartphones projected to be in use by 2019. If all had inductive charging, the impact would be over 23,000 megawatt hours consumed per day. To produce this power cleanly, the added load would require an additional 1,400 wind turbines just for the added load. With electric vehicles, things can get even more interesting. The Tesla Model 3 is getting between 4.5 and 5.5 kilometers per kilowatt hour, depending on driving habits. With a daily commute of 35 kilometers, a Tesla uses 7 kilowatt hours, so almost the same power usage as a small family home. So for every EV on the road, it's similar to adding another house on the grid. And when you introduce inductive charging, it can equate to adding nearly 2 additional homes. National power grids can likely accommodate this growth, but local infrastructure may not be capable or even willing to expand their capacity for the sake of convenience to EV drivers. A lot of the added stress on the grid is based on the fact that inductive charging is an inefficient technology, but that may not necessarily be true forever. Oak Ridge National Lab recently demonstrated a 20 kilowatt inductive charging system that operates at 90% efficiency, with power delivery up to 3 times faster than traditional wired charging. Although it's too early to know what the real-world wall-to-battery efficiency will look like, it's still promising to see some of the sharpest engineers in the energy field digging deeper into the technology and beyond. Theoretically, it is possible to transfer energy over greater distances with electromagnetic waves. NASA awarded one company $900,000 for its laser-powered climbing robot. The robot had no power source on board and managed to climb 900 meters up a cable suspended from a helicopter in just under 4 minutes, using a high-powered laser to provide enough energy to solar cells on its undercarriage. This is a fascinating technology that could have huge potential. We could have huge solar cells in space beaming down energy to Earth or other satellites. But right now the power loss of the mission is far too great to be useful. And this is a problem that is really facing current technology on Earth, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. Learning about simple core concepts like this that shape our world allows us to apply our knowledge to real-world problems. If you're watching my videos, you are likely like me, who are enthusiastic about science and technology and want to apply that knowledge to your everyday life. But to do that, you have to truly understand these principles yourself. Maybe you are an IT professional and want to brush up on your understanding of how computer memory works. Well, I have the perfect place for you to do that. You could take the brilliant course in computer memory. This course is one of many you can take on the site, but today I'm going to focus on what you will get from this specific course, because I took it myself and I knew very little about memory before I started. The course treated me like I treat my viewers. I expect them to have at least a high school level understanding of physics. There were terms in there that took me time to understand as I puzzled through the questions, which helped me actually learn and get true knowledge of the subject. The course checked my understanding along the way, and if I wasn't completely confident on my understanding, I could check the solution, which reinforced my learning and corrected my misconceptions. I came out the other end with a better understanding of how computers work and why that information would be important to a software developer. My videos are primarily crafted to inspire, but Brilliant is crafted to educate. That's why they are the perfect way to wrap up my videos. To support real engineering and learn more about Brilliant, go to brilliant.org/real-engineering and sign up for free. And also, the first 73 people that go to that link will get 20% off the annual premium subscription. The channel's views have been going down lately, and I'm not sure why, but there has definitely been a shift in the algorithm, and a lot of the educational channels that upload infrequently are feeling the pressure. So please hit that bell button and get notified when I upload, and do it for your other favorite creators too.
Hello and welcome to Easter Egg Hunting, a show that dissects your favourite games looking for hidden secrets and Easter eggs. We're going to try our hardest to show you all of any Easter eggs that we can find in any game, and we'll even be throwing in a bit of trivia as well. This time we're going to be covering Metal Gear Solid on the original PlayStation, a classic stealth action video game directed by the great Hideo Kojima. Due to its very cinematic approach and strong sense of humor from Kojima, you'll be able to find many secrets and special bits of trivia throughout the game. And due to the infamous lengths and contents of these games, this will be a long and tricky journey. So enough stalling, and let's begin. If we listen to the Konami boot-up screen, we can hear this pleasant little jingle. This jingle is actually an extract from a theme called End of the Dark from Kojima's previous works, Policenauts, a 1994 first-person point-and-click game from Kojima that focused a lot on cinematic gameplay and impeccable plot details, which then became typical traits for Kojima and then later rubbed off onto his future works. Pay attention, folks, because we're going to be making a lot of nods to Policenauts all throughout our journey. Once we get the game booted up to the main menu, we can actually screw around with the colours and the shapes in the background by messing with the directional buttons and analog sticks, which is pretty cool considering this is a, you know, menu. Yeah. Anyway, once you've stopped playing with the menu, you get greeted with the game's credits. Not only is this bit of the game lovely and dramatic, but it turns out that most of these names presented to us on screen don't actually exist at all. Nearly all of these names, excluding David Hayter and Doug Stone, used pseudonyms because they weren't sure if the Metal Gear Solid project was supported by the Screen Actors Guild, or in other words, union-sponsored. Even though David Hayter used his real name in this intro, however, in early demos and even in some of the final instruction manuals in the European version, he is credited as another identity, Sean Barker. But now is the time that we start talking about Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes, the GameCube remake developed by Konami and Silicon Knights. Comparatively, in The Twin Snakes, all of the actors then used their real names, except for the actor for Grey Fox, as a different actor filled his role. Also, if you want to watch the mission briefing in The Twin Snakes, you'll notice that when Naomi describes the origins of the Genome Soldier project to Snake, he rather sarcastically responds to the idea, saying that it's like a dinosaur theme park, referencing the immensely popular 1990 novel and 1993 summer blockbuster, Jurassic Park. We're going to be making a lot of comparisons to The Twin Snakes before our journey is done, everybody, so keep your wits about you and try to keep up. Anyways, enough with pre-game shenanigans, because now we have to start playing and searching. The first thing we can find after we see the title screen is as follows. Within the game, you have to codec call Mei Ling on 140.96 in order to save your progress. By codec calling Mei Ling multiple times and pressing do not save, we can get her quite annoying. On the third call, she'll express her distaste.
Come on, Snake, don't call me for no reason.
On the fourth call, she'll then say nothing at all. Keep calling her and choosing not to save until the sixth call, where she'll then not even give you a chance to save and then leave you alone by sticking her tongue out at you. Now, that's not very nice. Carrying on with playing the game, after we get through the air vents and inside the Shadow Moses stronghold, give Master Miller a quick call. And then another one. And then another one. Keep on calling him and then he'll eventually begin rambling about bodily functions.
It's also important to be able to control your bodily functions. You never know when a long demo is about to begin. So make sure you're prepared to sit in front of the monitor for a long time if necessary.
Acting as self-referential mocking to the fact that this game has long cutscenes. Speaking about bodily functions, before the cutscene with the DARPA chief and Snake is sleuthing around in the vents, have a quick look for Meryl in one of the cells below. Once you find her, you'll notice that she's doing some exercises on her prison bed. And now, everybody, get ready for the tediousness. If you exit back where you came from and then come back to where you found Meryl, you'll then see her performing another exercise. Do it again, and then you'll see that she changes positions yet again. But then on the fourth time you do it, you'll see that... Oh dear. Afterwards, once the DARPA chief ends up dying in front of Snake, the game will allow you a brief moment to explore his cell. If you crouch down and enter first-person view, look down towards his toilet and you can see some previously near-invisible maggots. They do hang around in a few other toilets as well, but the DARPA chief's toilet may be a foreshadowing to future events, as you later find his real body rotting in your own prison covered in maggots. Also, if you forgot, or you didn't find, the SOCOM pistol before meeting Meryl for the first time, instead of putting a gun out at her head, Snake will instead simply put his hand on the tip of her phalanx. Another thing to note at this portion of the game is that you can see that when Meryl attacked the guard and took his clothing, he's actually naked with his rear end blurred out. However, if you pop in the Japanese version and check the same body in the same place, he's simply in his underwear. Later in the game, we find out that this guard's name is Johnny Sasaki, which was actually the nickname of Hideki Sasaki, the game's character model designer. According to the developer's commentary in Metal Gear Solid Integral, Sasaki was infamous for his slack of behavior in the workplace, and so he was included within the game as an in-joke for the team. Also, whenever Johnny is knocked out in-game, he's always found on the floor in exactly the same position, face down with his rear pointed directly up at the stars. And now, I'll need to talk very quickly about Silicon Knights' last game before the Twin Snakes, Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem. This game is often considered a landmark for Nintendo, as it was the first M-rated game published directly under Nintendo itself for any of its systems. Due to its innovative sanity effect, it's also considered a landmark in survival horror, leading to Nintendo actually making a patent for those very effects. In this sense, this is a game that Silicon Knights were very proud of, leading to many nods and Easter eggs that are now ripe for the picking. For example, if we play the Twin Snakes, you'll find out that if you equip and place the book item on the floor and look down at it, you'll find an image of Alex Roivas, one of the main protagonists from the game. Thanks for watching, and let us know if you've missed any Easter eggs. Keep in mind that we're finding these eggs in order of in the game, and Hello and welcome to Easter Egg Hunting, a show that dissects your favourite games looking for hidden secrets and Easter eggs. We're going to try our hardest to show you all and any Easter eggs that we can find in any game, and we'll even be throwing in a bit of trivia as well. We've now reached part 2 of our journey through the original Metal Gear Solid, so let's just get on with it and keep searching for those eggs. After all the excitement with the DARPA chief, we then head off to rescue Kenneth Baker, the president of ArmsTech. You'll notice that during the boss fight with Revolver Ocelot, whenever you shoot Baker, Ocelot will ask you, "What are you aiming at?" Also, if you shoot him to death or accidentally trip the wires around him, then instead of your normal game over screen, Ocelot will instead insult you, again, calling you an idiot. You idiot! Jerk. And then after all that, you need to contact Meryl, the Colonel's supposed niece. What's her number though? Well, to help you out, Colonel Campbell lovingly breaks the fourth wall for you about here.
Wasn't her frequency written on the back of the CD case?
Although this is actually an idea taken from Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake on the MSX2, in which Campbell changes his frequency at one part of the game and tells you to check the back of the game's packaging for the new frequency. Many aspects from Metal Gear Solid are actually directly taken, or remade, from Metal Gear 2, but the similarities are too plentiful to mention, so we're only going to be pointing out the most significant and interesting ones in our quest. In this retrospect, in both Metal Gear 2 and Metal Gear Solid, Snake and his female contacts both end up using the same exact frequency, and strangely enough, both end up romantically involved. Case in point, Snake and Holly in Metal Gear 2, and Snake and Mirror in Metal Gear Solid. Also, the character Deep Throat is a throwback, not only to the informant from the Watergate scandal, but also to Metal Gear 2, where an anonymous source calls Snake, and in both games they both turn out to be the character known as Grey Fox. Carrying on with the game, on a side note, if you call Naomi or Mei Ling while smoking your cigarette, you will actually get lectured by both of them.
Did you know that cigarettes contain pentapyrene, a chemical that leads to lung cancer?
In the story, once you hook up with Meryl, she'll then tell you that she's going to open the cargo door for you, allowing you to continue. However, more codec shenanigans can be performed if we keep on calling her before she gets the door open, and then she'll shout at you and call you impatient.
Don't be so impatient. Settle down. I need a little more time to get the cargo door open.
Also, around this part of the game, flipping around to the Twin Snakes, a poster for Eternal Darkness featuring the main antagonist Eos Augustus is visible in a locker in the second floor basement armory. And now, back to the story, because we need to go and find Dr. Hal Everett. If we check around the second floor basement of the nuclear building, we can actually find a room containing a Moai head statue, straight cut from Easter Island. How appropriate. It turns out that this is actually a running gag with Konami, as they've also included this head in as an in-joke for Gradius, Castlevania, and Snatcher, to name a few. Also, if we check around the same place, we can also see the words Hal's Lab, Keep Out scrawled onto the door leading to Otocon's lab. Even though this is clearly a label, this may also be a reference to Hal Labs, where Kojima's close friend and game designer, Masahiro Sakurai, formerly worked there. Once we get inside the lab, however, we need to fight this ninja. During the fight, if we head up to the locker where Otacon is hiding in and knock on it, he will actually whimper in fear. Bless it. And then, after the epic battle to the death with the ninja, we witness another very long cutscene. And this one begins with the ninja going completely ape and screaming this line. And it turns out that this line is actually a reference to the classic sci-fi action anime Akira.
get that medicine.
And now we've entered the first level of an Easter egg hunting paradise, all of which take place inside Otacon lab. Going back to the Twin Snakes, after the fight with the ninja, wait for the cutscene with Otacon to finish and then feel free to look around. If you check behind where Otacon was standing, you'll notice two statues of Mario and Yoshi on the side. Shooting the Mario statue results in a 1-up sound effect and then a slight health increase. And then if we shoot the Yoshi statue, we hear the adorable little thing cry out. And although you get no bonus from it, it's still amazing. And now for a few comparisons. If you search around the office in the PlayStation version, you'll notice a PlayStation console on one of the desks. In the Twin Snakes, however, in the same place, you'll notice a GameCube console with a Wavebird controller. Also, in the PlayStation version, check around the walls and you'll notice a Police North poster, whereas in the Twin Snakes, you'll instead find a poster for Zone of the Enders, the second runner. Also, in the Twin Snakes, if you check a magazine rack to the far southeast side of the lab, to the untrained eye, you may not be able to see the Eternal Darkness logo on one of the magazines. But give it a few more seconds and adjust your eye to the picture, and you may very nearly make it out among the muddy and bleak colours. See it yet? Another thing, on the PlayStation version, during the cutscenes with Otacon, he begins talking about his love for Japanese animation and robots. And during this bit, it shows footage from Kojima's last game before this, which was, yes, another nod to Police North. Comparatively, in the same place cutscene with the Twin Snakes, you'll actually find that those clips of footage are changed from the Zone of the Enders too. The character of Hal Emmerich was also named after one of Kojima's favourite movie directors, Roland Emmerich, the director of famous disaster movies like Independence Day and the Godzilla remake. And his nickname was derived from the Japanese Animation and Culture Convention, nearly identically named Otacon. And now enough with that stuff because we need to catch up to Meryl. As she is disguised as a genome soldier, you need to somehow point her out by looking at her... that thing. And then once you find her, she'll scamper off into the ladies' bathroom where you then pursue her. And if you chase her fast enough, by the next cutscene, she wouldn't have had time to put her pants on, leaving her pretty exposed. However, if you step into the ladies' bathroom before you actually see her, whilst you're in there, give Mei Ling a call and prepare to be completely slaughtered.
That's a ladies' bathroom.
I know that. Saw Meryl come in here.
So you're waiting after her? Are you some kind of pervert? I won't let you save your mission now.
After another long and emotional cutscene, if you choose to stare at Meryl outside, she'll get rather embarrassed. If you just keep the first person button held down, she'll get increasingly embarrassed and progressively blush the more you look at her, until she goes nearly pure red. Only problem is this does take a long time.
Don't stare at me like that.
And then, I'd assume you feel very guilty about that, so now it's time to commit suicide. So let's do this creatively. If we go over to Meryl and punch her, she'll slap Snake back in retaliation. Keep on hitting her and keep on waiting her to slap you until eventually she'll literally slap Snake to death. And then, in the game over screen, grieve over his loss.
Can't be.
Thanks for watching and let us know if you've missed any Easter eggs. Keep in mind that Hello and welcome to Easter Egg Hunting, a show that dissects your favourite games looking for hidden secrets and Easter eggs. We're going to try our hardest to show you all and any Easter eggs that we can find in any game, and we'll even be throwing in a bit of trivia as well. We've now reached part 3 on our journey through the original Metal Gear Solid, so enough chit-chat, let's just carry on. After you get bored with Meryl slapping you about, we can carry on with the story as we have to head to the commander's room, which just so happens to be our second stop to an Easter egg hunting paradise. After the short scene where Meryl gets possessed by Mantis, try viewing the game in first-person mode. You'll find that the perspective switches to Meryl's vision instead of Snake's, which could be a foreshadowing to later events during the Mantis fight, where the first-person mode is then replaced by Mantis's view. Then, once you meet Mantis, he'll demonstrate his true psychic powers to Snake by, again, breaking the fourth wall. He says that he will read your mind, and by reading your mind, he means by reading your memory card, where he will then search out and comment about any saved game data from other Konami titles. The following game saves, and probably some others, provoke responses: Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Silent Hill, ISS Soccer, Azure Dreams, Suikoden, and Poi Poi. And then, only on the Japanese version, Tokimeki Memorial, Police Noughts, and Snatcher. In the Japanese version as well, if the player has save files from both Snatcher and Police Noughts, it will trigger the following message. Psycho Mantis will say, "So, you like Kojima's work?" And then Kojima speaks in a voiceover saying, "Thank you for your continuing support." In the Twin Snakes, Mantis will read off of these save files: Eternal Darkness, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
Did you enjoy playing Eternal Darkness?
You seem to like The Legend of Zelda, don't you? You've been playing Super Mario Sunshine, haven't you? So you've played Super Smash Bros. Melee before.
If the player has none of these game save datas in their memory card in both versions, Mantis will then say,
Your memory is completely clean.
Flipping over to the Twin Snakes again, you may have noticed that the visual psych-outs used in this portion of the game are very reminiscent of the sanity effects used in Eternal Darkness. Furthermore, several voice actors and actresses played roles in both the Metal Gear Solid series and Eternal Darkness, including David Hayter, Kim My Guest, Jennifer Hale, Cam Clark, Paul Iding, and Greg Egan. Back on the PS1, during the battle with Mantis, if you just can't figure out how to avoid Mantis's mind control, give Colonel Campbell a quick call, and then keep on calling him until the fourth call, where he'll then give you a little hint to defeating Mantis.
Using his psychic ability to read your controller's moves. That's how he's evading your attack.
If we then decide to die without changing controller ports, you'll then get a call from him that reveals the true secret to defeating Mantis.
Plug your controller into controller's port 2.
After the battle with Mantis, he then states that he is unsure whether or not Snake's and Meryl's futures lie together, which is actually alluding to the game's two endings, one in which Meryl survives and the other in which she dies. Also, the script in the original Japanese release had Mantis mention that his helping Snake on his deathbed felt nostalgic, though this was changed to "it feels kind of nice" in the English version. However, in the Twin Snakes, this was then changed back to the former. According to Hideo Kojima, the nostalgia that Mantis said he was feeling was due to him sensing his own mother's emotions during childbirth, where she had used the last of her dying strength to help her son survive, similar to Mantis's own actions towards helping Snake upon his death. And back on the Twin Snakes, if you check around the portraits in the commander's room, you may notice that the people portrayed are actually, in fact, Ryohei Kitamura, Dennis Dyack, and Hideo Kojima. Psycho Mantis's powers were actually inspired by another fictional character from the 1978 film, The Fury. After another long cutscene and some progress into the caves portion of the game, once we get to the end of them, if you hit Meryl when the wolf dogs are around, she'll actually end up calling them over to attack you.
What are you thinking?
However, if you hit her and then hide immediately in your cardboard box, they'll pee on you instead. Now that's nice. After more stuff happens and everything seems to be going along just fine, tragedy strikes. This is, of course, one of your many encounters with Sniper Wolf, shooting Meryl as bait to lure Snake out. According to Kojima, being a Stanley Kubrick fan, this specific scene with Meryl continuously getting shot in the open by a sniper rifle was based on the famous scene in Kubrick's war movie, Full Metal Jacket. After this, you'll be told to grab a sniper rifle to battle Wolf. But before you do this, at this point, flip on the Twin Snakes. If you shoot Meryl after she's been shot already by Wolf, you'll get some pretty angry responses from your teammates.
Snake, what the hell? Are you trying to kill Meryl?
Have you gone insane?
Keep on playing the Twin Snakes for this next bit as well. Once you get back to where you started, if you want to, have a lounge around the tank hangar. Due to the improved graphics on the Twin Snakes, you'll actually see that the graphics user interface is visible on many computers that you'll stumble into in the game. However, back on point, in the tank hangar, behind a level 2 door on the upper level, you'll actually find a computer with the Silicon Knights website on it. Pretty cool. Anyways, going back to the story. You've got the rifle and now need to fight Wolf. After beating her, you can then wander around this area for a second. If you start sniping the rats along the metal platform above where Wolf was, you'll get some mildly distressed calls from your teammates.
Snake, we don't need a rat trap. We need someone to stop that goddamn nuke from getting launched.
After everything seems dandy and you're ready to move on, you'll end up captured. Well, crap. So at this point, Snake will be thrown into a torture room where another cutscene plays. During this cutscene, you can hear Revolver Ocelot say,
Going to launch that nuke and ride it all the way into history.
as we've established that Kojima is indeed a Kubrick fan, this may also be a reference to the bomb riding scene from one of his great movies, Dr. Strangelove. And just before we get to the proper torture, Ocelot will warn you in-game.
When your life reaches zero, the game is over. There are no continues, my friend.
And then along with this warning, if you've played the game and not saved that often, Ocelot will decide to taunt you and try to make you submit before you even started.
It's been a long time since you saved that game. If your body can't survive the torture, it'll be game over. You really want to travel down that long road again? Come on. Why don't you just
Thanks for watching, and let us know if you've missed any Easter eggs. Keep in mind that we're finding these eggs in order of appearance in the game, and there's plenty more stuff to come. If you want to see more of my stupid stuff, you can have a look at my most recent video game review. Relevance? What's that? You can also check out more videos to the side, and don't forget to check out vgfacts.com. Hello and welcome to Easter Egg Hunting, a show that dissects your favourite games looking for hidden secrets and Easter eggs. We're going to try our hardest to show you all and any Easter eggs that we can find in any game, and we'll even be throwing in a bit of trivia as well. We've now reached part 4 on our journey through the original Metal Gear Solid, and we're getting even closer to the end, so let's not dawdle. After your first lovely torture session with Ocelot, you'll get a chance to run around your cell. If we head up to the walls and knock on them, or if we just randomly hit circle to perform combos in the air, Johnny Sasaki, the guard watching you, will ask you politely to be quiet.
Shut up! Shut up in there, will ya?
Well, kind of. Hiding under the bed makes him also say this. And then you can also have a go at calling Naomi whilst in the cell. If we do it at the right moment, we can get her to, yet again, break the fourth wall for us. She does this by telling you that she can heal your arm from the torture pain by telling you to place the controller on it, and then let the vibrations soothe you back to health.
How does that feel, Snake? A little better?
How did you do that?
And now we can get up to all sorts of mischief as we can escape this cell in multiple ways. The first way is as follows. Wait for Johnny to head off to the bathroom or fall asleep. Whilst he isn't looking, hide under the bed. When he returns and notices that you're not there, he'll open the cell up and look for you, and he's all confused and lost. It's quite cute. And then you can just sneak attack him and run away. The second way is to wait for Otacon, or give him a call whilst in the cell, and then a few moments later he'll arrive to help you with some ketchup. Thanks, mate. All you need to do here is, again, wait for the opportune moment to be alone, then lie on the ground, equip the ketchup, use it, and then when Johnny returns, he'll think that you've committed suicide. He'll open the cell, check on you, and then you sneak attack him and run off again. The third way, however, involves waiting for Otacon again. By the way, in the torture, you can submit or resist either way to let any of these work, so don't worry. Just make sure that when you get the ketchup, use it like usual, but whilst Johnny is around to see you waste it.
Playing around with that ketchup for?
After that, he'll go into the bathroom again, and whilst he's gone, you'll then be rescued by the ninja, who will slash the lock in the original and slice the door in half in the Twin Snakes. Also, if we escape the cell without killing or knocking out Johnny, he will end up chasing us. Once you get to the torture room, however, this will trigger a moment when Johnny has yet another bout of diarrhea and then rushes to the toilet. If you then follow him and knock on the door that he's in, he'll groan in pain. Just for another little thing, during the torture, if you take the lesser route and submit to it, you'll find that you'll actually catch Johnny's cold once you escape, leading to many humorous codec calls and recommendations on cold medicine. Trust me, it's all worth it to hear a bummed up Snake. Now, to carry on the hero's way, if we choose not to submit to the torture, Ocelot will plant a bomb in Snake's gear as escapism insurance, I guess. If we wait a while before throwing away Ocelot's time bomb that he rigged to our gear, Deep Throat will call Snake about 15 seconds before the bomb goes off, whereas in the Twin Snakes, it happens a little bit sooner than that.
Snake, there's a bomb planted in your items. Hurry, throw it away!
If we continue to wait, however, Campbell will then end up calling you and tell you exactly how to throw the thing away before it goes boom.
Select the bomb in the equipment window and press the circle button to throw it away.
Around this part of the game as well, give Master Miller a call whilst running around on a noisy surface. He'll then give you this little bit of advice.
There's a way to walk so your footsteps won't be heard. I call it stalking. Put your weight on the opposite foot that you're going to step with. Then, take a step so that your heel makes contact with the ground first. As you slowly lower the tip of your foot to the floor, gradually shift your weight onto that foot.
Snake then replies that he's frustrated and can't do it, to which Miller replies,
Another way is to wear your socks over your shoes.
In the Twin Snakes, however, this line ends up actually being changed.
In practical terms, you should be moving the control stick very gently.
Like many other moments of this game, another throwback to Metal Gear 2 is visible after this section with the spiral staircase chase scene, where a near-identical event occurs. After all that madness, things get even more mad when we have to fight a Hind D gunship thing. Just before this battle though, when you first see the gunship itself, try calling Miller, and then you'll see that we get no response from him. This is actually a strong foreshadowing to Miller's true identity, as some of you already know. Then we can get to the actual battle, where another fourth wall codec moment could be performed here by calling Campbell, who will tell you, to help you out with locating the gunship, to listen out for the rotor blades of it with your stereo TV. However, setting the game sound to mono, or playing on a mono TV, provokes the following call of disbelief.
Snake, you're not using the stereo TV?
Can't be. A mono TV. Well, Colonel, there's nothing we can do about it.
Although after that little bit of degrading, Campbell will still reassure you that you can beat the Hind D without the use of a stereo television anyway.
There's more to being a good person than just having a stereo television.
Brilliant. Later onwards, we then become part of this nightmarish elevator ambush with stealth camouflaged assassins. This is, again, another throwback to Metal Gear 2, where nearly the exact same thing happens. In the game, these attackers were known as the Four Horsemen, but were nicknamed Ultrabots, which was weirdly enough actually a tribute to the 70s British band Ultrabots. After all that insanity, we have another battle with Sniper Wolf in a snowfield. When she hijacks your codec, she mentions a love letter being a bullet from her gun.
Well, I'm going to send you a love letter, my dear. Do you know what that is? It's a bullet straight from my gun to your heart.
Which Dennis Hopper's character in Blue Velvet, Frank Booth, also mentions.
I'll send you a love letter.
Straight from my heart, fucker! You know what a love letter is? It's a bullet from a fucking gun!
After another long cutscene and after the epic battle itself, you can have a little nose around and you may notice that you can see a parachute caught tangled in a tree. This is actually the same parachute that Liquid used to escape the crashed Hind D that you just blew up. If you then end up looking directly at it, you'll trigger another call with Campbell.
I found a parachute near the wreckage of the Hive. A parachute? You don't think that Liquid survived?
Just for the giggles as well, repeatedly call Master Miller again around this point and see what he has to say, as well as a small squabble about hats and bandanas.
Over 70% of your body's warmth is lost through your head. Put on some kind of hat.
I hate hats. Is a bandana okay?
Well, I guess it's better than nothing.
He'll talk about the causes of pneumonia and when exactly is the ideal time that you shouldn't be playing video games.
In an Arctic environment, it's important to change your underwear if you're sweating. You can even catch pneumonia. Gaming after a bath should be avoided.
Once you're done here, you'll need to carry on onwards to where Metal Gear Rex is being held. To do this though, you need to insert Disc 2. Do as prompted and then carry on like normal. However, if you go back to the snowfield on Disc 2, you'll then notice that Sniper Wolf's dead body has now been replaced with an excited wolf puppy. Now that's just adorable. Thanks for watching and let us know if we've missed any Easter eggs. Keep in mind that we're finding these eggs in order of appearance in the game and there's plenty more stuff to come. If you want to see more of my stupid stuff and you want to hear me talk very, very quickly, then have a look at my last very, very quick current quickie video game quick video. You can also check out more videos to the side and don't forget to check out vgfacts.com. Thank you again and take care. Hello and welcome to Easter Egg Hunting, a show that dissects your favourite games looking for hidden secrets and Easter eggs. We're going to try our hardest to show you all and any Easter eggs that we can find in any game, and we'll even be throwing in a bit of trivia as well. We've now reached part 5 on our journey through the original Metal Gear Solid, and it's unfortunately coming to a closure, so let's crack on and see what else we can find before we get to the end. Just remember that if we've missed anything, just let us know in the comments, and we might make a tiny little bonus video just for you guys to make sure that we've secured all possible Easter eggs. We've killed Wolf, swapped discs, and Cinepuppy. Now, enough fooling around because Metal Gear needs destroyed. In the first area, the blast furnace, you need to shimmy along this wall over here. I'm sure that you're aware there's a really annoying crane here that you keep on having to duck under while you're shimmying along to avoid it. Well, it actually turns out you can make things much easier by following it to Kingdom Come. I didn't even think about doing that. Awesome. Going on to the next bit, killing all the Ravens before the boss fight with Vulcan Raven will provoke negative responses.
Snake, we're not paying you to be a scarecrow, you know.
Additionally, Raven will also be given an extra line when you meet Snake.
How dare you kill my friends?
Along with this, at this part of the game as well, all the references to crows will also be changed to ravens if Snake calls Miller first on the elevator where the supposed truth about Naomi is revealed. Master Miller will then correct Snake, who's been calling them crows this whole time.
Those aren't crows. Those are northern ravens.
And then a whole lot of other things happen, but our next point of interest pops up at the final boss level on the top of a broken Metal Gear Rex. Before this epic fight begins, we can hear Liquid yell,
"Have at you, Snake!"
As this is Konami, this could be a possible reference to Dracula's line in Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
But enough talk! Have at you!
This entire ending sequence can also be seen as another throwback to Metal Gear 2. In both endings, after you destroy each respective Metal Gear, an unarmed battle takes place with the pilot of each set machine, being Grey Fox in Metal Gear 2 and Liquid in Metal Gear Solid. Similarly also, both fights have Snake stripped of most of his gear, except in Metal Gear 2, Snake is forced to dispose of it after it catches fire, and in Metal Gear Solid, Liquid strips his equipment off him himself. During the ending cutscene of the game, if you submitted to the torture earlier, Snake and Otacon will ride off on the secured snowmobile together. Be warned here, there's a small spoiler coming up, so if you don't want to know it, stop this video now. Okay? Anyway, before they ride off, Snake will tell Otacon his real name, David, to which Otacon replies,
I'm Hal, Dave.
Snake comments that they would make a great pair, and then they laugh together, because, of course, they've referenced yet another Stanley Kubrick movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey. They then go on to suggest that they should take a trip to Jupiter sometime. Very cute and very clever. However, if you resisted the torture earlier, you ride off instead with Meryl. For bonus items, Meryl gives you the unlimited ammo bandana, and Otacon gives you the just as handy stealth camouflage. On your third playthrough of the game, you'll see that Snake changes into a tuxedo, which is an obvious homage to the James Bond series. Also, the ninja will have a different color palette on his exoskeleton, changing to red and grey, looking a little bit like Spider-Man. Also, in Metal Gear Solid Integral and the Twin Snakes, you'll see that Meryl will also be wearing a sneaking suit. Another thing to notice on your third playthrough is this. During the ending credits, there will be different music playing over them, which is actually the Metal Gear Solid main theme, and this was the song featured in most of the trailers for the game, and more notably the one at the 1997 Electronic Entertainment Expo. Comparatively, in the Twin Snakes, the much simpler Alert theme from the second floor basement armory will instead play over the credits. And now for some other random things. In the PlayStation version of Metal Gear Solid Integral, there are two hidden codec frequencies, 140.07 and 140.66.